Hey everyone, I'm Josh Galvin, this is Bob Gibbs, and this is episode 10 of The Truth in the News. And on this episode, we wanted to again cover and make the point clear once again that we've touched on in a couple other videos about you cannot trust national news and national numbers when it talks about real estate and look at that data and information and make accurate local decisions. So there's actually, we have 3 articles that give way contradicting data to MLS data for the local region of San Ramon. So we wanted to just make that clear and give you more clarity on this like vastly important point. I guess people still, for some reason, consistently look at national numbers and it's still making faulty, conclusions. So here we go. Let's just dive right in.
Yeah, what we're seeing here is, we look at the national news all the time, and then we compare it to local data. When things stick out to us as being odd or not making a whole lot of sense based on what we're seeing, we dig in a little bit. So, I ran across this article, a CNBC article right here, saying stocks advance led by materials and energy. And within here, there was a little paragraph or a sentence that said, on the U.S. economic front, pending home sales fell 11.6% in April from March and 26.5% from a year earlier. And I'm reading that and I'm thinking that just doesn't make any sense because I'm looking at our sales board and it's just packed full of sales. So what we did is pull the most recent sales that are pendings, and you can see right here, that doesn't look like they're going down to me.
Meaning this is the MLS data for the local market showing the pending sales, all homes that are in escrow or in contract right now that have risen actually.
Right. In fact, they're quoting a decrease by 11.6%, when in fact it's actually increased by 15% during the same period of time. In the local market, I'm not saying that their information is inaccurate, but it's not specific enough for you to use it to make a decision on whether to buy or sell a home.
Mm-hmm. And for all of our favorite cynics out there, we're not saying this is data that's saying the market's great, go start buying homes tomorrow. It's just saying use information properly to make a proper decision. We're not jumping any conclusions for that data yet, so we'll get to that point shortly.
Right.
But basically, we were these other two as well, I guess. So following the same trend.
Yeah, so then I pulled this article from USA Today, which basically says the same thing as far as contracts to buy homes fall to a 7-month low. Well, that's pending sales, and we just proved that that's incorrect. But they had a statement here that what I found interesting. And it says, overhanging the entire housing sector are waves of foreclosures. And they are forcing down home prices and holding back a potential recovery. And that struck me as being odd as well, because I pulled the same article from Realty Track in the middle of May that basically says foreclosures are at a 40-month low. That to me is not saying we're seeing waves of foreclosures. Having said that, I'm not saying that there aren't a lot of foreclosures and pending foreclosures that are going to hit the market. They just haven't hit the market yet. But those ones that are sitting out there aren't the ones that are causing prices to go down because it's really not inventory that's on the market.
They're not on the market. You can't even count them.
Right.
And this goes back to one of our other videos where we talked about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I do think though is people are reading these articles and taking them at their face value and saying, okay, that's the way it is. When in fact it's really not true. Some of them are flat out just not true as far as the wave of foreclosures. But the other one is it's data that's projected on a mass or an aggregate level, which covers the whole country. And you really have to look at your hyper-local data to get a good idea of what's going on. The foreclosure issue is a very good one. We have agents that are saying, oh yeah, there's tons of foreclosures on the market, and prices are going to be falling off a cliff.
Yeah.
Right? And so if someone is being that general with you, they're probably not really well versed in what's really happening.
Yeah, they wouldn't understand the inventory in a sense.
Right.
Because it comes down to what's actually on the market,
They're not on top of things.
Yeah.
They're just kind of saying what they think you want to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so true. And I would say, I think it was video number 3 where you talked about inventory specifically.
Right.
And that's where you touched on this whole concept of these foreclosure waves. Because there are a lot of foreclosure filings. We even had a video where we dropped, a big sheet of paper that showed loads of foreclosure, the numbers were up, but they haven't hit the market. So it's like the whole point is nationally, this seems like they're saying foreclosures are causing this massive mess and home prices are never going to recover, but we haven't actually seen that yet.
Right.
At least locally.
It's not the foreclosures themselves, it's the fear of the foreclosures that are causing the issue.
Yeah.
And then the hype that's in the media regarding them.
Yeah.
And so, which I wish it weren't true, but it is.
Yeah. So then, in a simple nutshell, what would you say to the buyers and sellers that do read all this information
Right.
and then make their decisions on home buying or selling
Right.
based off of this stuff? What would you tell them?
You really have to align yourself with someone who understands the data and will present real data to you and not just try to tell you what you want to hear.
And what's
you
the
may not
real
like
data
it.
they should look at?
The real data you should look at is the data specific to the city, town, or neighborhood that you want to either move into or move out of. Anything outside of that is almost, to some extent, not really relevant to your decision. It's just national news. It has nothing to do with your specific situation. Your specific neighborhood may be different than even a half mile away from you. And so you really have to align yourself with someone who understands exactly what's going on there, and you can price your home right. It can really give you good counsel. I mean, you have to make up your own decision at the end of the day, but give you the information you need to make a truly educated decision. That's what you really need.
Okay, cool. So that seems to be everything with this
Yeah.
video. Well, good luck. Take care.
Bye.